quiet, aren't they? They'll come back around. See if they're quiet out there.
Oh yeah, this Budweiser with a serious blowover accident.
Ribs are holding up great. Like Kansas City, which was the race right after our Seattle accident. Once I'm in the boat, I'm fine. Getting in the boat and getting out of the boat and getting in bed at night are the two or three most difficult things. But once I'm in there, I'm comfortable and feel great.
Well, assuming he's comfortable, he's ready to push the pedal down as they come down and they take the start in this the O'Doul's shootout in Hawaii. Going right to the front of the pack, it's going to be Chip Hanauer in the Miss Budweiser. Second place on the inside is Mark Tate in the Winston Eagle, and third on the outside, the Pizza Hut American Spirit.
They've waited all year long for this O'Doul's shootout. The top three qualifiers make it to this particular event, and there's top prize money. However, the Pizza Hut American Spirit gets in because the Tide had transom damage. The Tide boat with George Woods should actually be in here, but this guy right here, Mark Evans, gets a break.
And for the moment, Mark Evans is running in third place. Here comes your lead boat, Chip Hanauer in the Miss Budweiser, coming around for the checkered flag, 149.640 miles per hour, an indication of the good water here in Hawaii. Good water and lots of fun. And as we get ready for racing here on Hawaii, let's tell you that for the 9th consecutive time, Chip Hanauer in the Miss Budweiser has won the Fast Lap Award. This one, the Kmart Fast Lap Award at 168.188 miles per hour. We'll get ready for the start, and there they go. On the inside, it's the Miss Budweiser. On the outside, watch the challenge from the Coors Dry boat, Dave Vilwalk. He moved it right up into position, but remember, the inside boat usually has the advantage on the turn because of the shorter course. And that's the case with the Miss Budweiser as Chip Hanauer continues to power it out, but watch out on the outside. There's Coors Dry coming up. Dave Vilwalk has really put the power to the boat, but look at Chip Hanauer. Hanauer apparently caught sight of the Coors Dry in his right rear view mirror, and he just punched it. Now the Miss Budweiser is in the lead.
This is the first lap of 5 in this winner take-all final. As we look at the Winston Eagle coming up on the Coors Dry, we have one big battle as our leader comes off of corner number 4.
The boats battling for second place are going to have to be a little concerned with the condition of the water. That's always a problem because that lead boat is throwing not only a rooster tail but a wake. Look at the medal. Meanwhile, the Winston Eagle is still trying to come up on the outside.
We're going to have a battle for second place as we have one more lap to go. Miss Budweiser, the leader, but look at the Winston Eagle come on to the T+.
Not only that, but the Winston Eagle has lost the horizontal stabilizer on the boat, and now the two vertical stabilizer wings are folding over on the exhaust stack. He's got to be a little concerned about that. Apparently, it's not affecting the handling of the boat. That usually holds the boat up out of the water a little bit for them. He is not concerned. He has still got his foot in it. This is the boat they're aiming at. Coming around looking for the checkered flag will be the Miss Budweiser. The boat that Winston Eagle wants to catch, of course, is the T+. Here comes your boat for the win, the Miss Budweiser, Chip Hanauer, and you've got to give this guy a tremendous amount of credit. He is driving with a broken rib as a result of the accident where he flipped in Seattle and then again in San Diego. Look at the battle for second place. It looks like the T+ may have the advantage on the inside. There's your winner coming home, Miss Budweiser. Let's go back to second. It's going to be the Winston Eagle.
Chip Hanauer makes it a perfect day, wins the final heat. You had some racing behind you this time. There was some speed out there.
Well, not only was there racing behind me, it wasn't just one boat. It wasn't just the Winston, which we've seen all year. You know, I had my mirrors full of T+. I had my mirrors full of Winston. I saw Dave Vilwalk in there. There was a lot of people trying to win this boat race, which is great.
Steve, a total of 5 boats topped the 160-mile-per-hour mark in qualifying. The Miss Budweiser, driven by Chip Hanauer, set a new course record, 168 miles per hour. That's especially impressive with the fuel restrictor valve the Unlimited Racing Commission has put into effect this year.
These boats are pretty equal. Whoever gets the inside lane and keeps it running will be tough to beat.
And that may be the key, keeping it running. And right now, the run of the Miss Budweiser is nothing short of perfection. As Chip Hanauer looks up to the start-finish tower to see if he gets the checkered flag this time around, he should get it. And there it is. Chip Hanauer takes the win in Heat 1B. Last heat. Let's go down to that dock and Steve Montgomery.
Chip, your old crew chief here made you set a 2.5-mile record.
Yeah, but he's going too fast to be my friend anymore.
Bernie's wondering, who are these guys, huh?
Well, I'll tell you something, that was awesome to watch. I don't know how it was in the boat, but that was really great racing. And that's what keeps us in the sport. That's great.
Dave, this guy was your boss for a couple of years, and no respect at all anymore.
No, the other way around. He was my boss.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's too bad I couldn't have told him to slow down some, but it was a fun race. We've been waiting to do that an awful long time, and it's great that we could finally do it.
And Chip Hanauer once again in Miss Budweiser.
Look like they're in a good lineup. The officials look it over, and there's the flag. We're off and running in the final heat of the day. This is the winner-take-all T+ with a clear view ahead. There you can see just off to the left of T+, the American Dream. The battle up front, Smokin' Joe's, has taken the lead on the back stretch over the Miss Budweiser. There you see the scene that Chip Hanauer sees in front of him now. Now the strategy will come into play. Chip Hanauer has got to have been watching all day long what Mark Tate has done in the Smokin' Joe's. Let's see how he plays it out. But Jim, as he comes down into the far end of the course, it looks like the Miss Budweiser is tending to lift up a little bit.
Yes, and also he has the shorter way around the course, and on the turn, it's going to be Mark Tate still holding him off. As they come down now, it's deck to deck, side by side, at around 185 mile an hour at this point as we look inside the Bud Sea smooth water, completing lap number 1.
So the Miss Budweiser has taken a very slight lead, but the Smokin' Joe's is not giving him any quarter at all. Mark Tate very hard on the outside, and again, Mark Tate trying to play strategy by getting a little bit of a lead on him as they go into the turn. That way, when they come out and the slingshot effect hits the Miss Budweiser as it did right there, Mark Tate is still very much in it. Still back in third place is the American Dream, Dave Villwock, who has stayed very, very consistent throughout the entire day.
Fourth place is the T+, but the American Dream bounced out of the water, went about 40 feet in the air. His propeller kind of wound up. They may have problems still as we look at our leader to come around and complete lap number 1. That is Chip Hanauer from Seattle. And he's being chased by Mark Tate of Detroit here on lap number 2 of 5 in the winner-take-all final.
So Chip Hanauer now getting a little distance. Smokin' Joe's holding it in at about 149 miles per hour. We might tell you, those of you that are new to Unlimited Racing, when you see an average speed, that's an average speed with 4 corners on the course. Remember, they lose it right here as you see Chip throw it into the turn. He's actually resisting on the water, so his speed is falling down. He has to come back up. So if he's hitting 147 for the entire course, he's over 190 miles an hour. Well, here's your checkered flag coming out. This is the 4th victory for the Miss Budweiser, 3rd straight for Chip Hanauer. He takes the checkered flag for the Budweiser Columbia Cup. The Miss Budweiser pulling back in, and of course there's going to be a little celebration down there. Chip Hanauer did a great job, a perfect day of racing, won all of the heats he got into.
Chip, it was the first time all day you had to catch anybody, and fortunately you did.
Well, we had a big problem. We had what we call a rudder flutter, where the steering wheel just starts vibrating so bad you can barely hang on to it. So I feel real lucky to have not only won, but to have finished.
More fun to win when it's a close boat race.
Well, more fun for you, not for me. I'd like to be a mile ahead.
Bernie, you saw that yellow nose out there ahead for a minute. A few nerves.
Yeah, I did, and I knew Chip heard me talking to him, and said, well, what second place? So he did what had to be done, and it was awesome.
A big win, and now you go home to Seattle.
Yeah, you know, you guys always talk about the next one. I don't want to think about the next one yet. I just want to enjoy this. This one's special because when we got to the first corner, the steering wheel just came out of my hand. I mean, I couldn't hang on to it, and I thought, that's it, we're done. And then I backed off, and usually it'll stop when you finally slow down, but by the time I got the thing stopped, the vibration stopped, Smokin' Joe's was
smoking. So
Chip Hanauer, he ran 147 miles per hour with Mark Tate right behind him at 146. Jim? Chip Hanauer will have all the action coming up next on Speedway. Montgomery and Jim Hendrick as we look at the Miss Budweiser, the fastest qualifier on the weekend. Going out onto the course, we want to talk to the owners of the two final boats. Let's talk first with Bernie Little.
Hasn't worked out too bad not having the crew chief here.
Oh, well, everything that we've done here today goes back to Ronnie Brown. Ronnie engineered this boat, and believe me, he's not here physically, but he certainly is here, and he's on that phone every minute of the day. He's telling us what to do, and we're doing it.
Starting your 33rd year in Unlimiteds, and you're in another final heat.
Yeah, we sure are, and thanks to Ronnie and the Miss Budweiser crew that they built us a great boat. Chip is mighty happy with it, so we hope we'll win today, but we may and we may not, but we'll be trying.
Tate comes up. Look how close he is to Chip Hanauer and the Miss Budweiser on the outside.
I think they were probably just tapping sponsors to wish each other well or something along that line. They didn't literally touch, but I know both of these drivers have tremendous respect for each other. Now we're going to see if these two boats will match out in this literal drag race for the finals here at Firebird Lake. When we come down, there's the green flag. Miss Budweiser trying to establish dominance right off the bat. You can see Smokin' Joe's just on the inside of that rooster tail. Now look at the difference in the ride of the boat as he heads into the turn, riding on the skid fin, back out onto the straightaway again, and the Miss Budweiser is leading.
Tremendous shot. Showed you Mark Tate doing a great job of holding his boat on the inside line, but the outside is still the fast way around, and it's going to be hard, Dick, for him to catch Chip Hanauer. He's got it hooked up, and the Miss Budweiser has been, let's admit it, the best boat here this weekend.
Oh, boy, did the Smokin' Joe ever take a couple of porpoise jumps there, and he had to go through the rooster tail or what was left of it, and it looked like he may have lost a lot of power as he came out of that turn. No problem at all. An absolutely perfect view of how a hydroplane should ride as we look at the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer just doing a magnificent job.
And you see the view out the front window of the Smokin' Joe's. Mark Tate can see Chip Hanauer way off to his left, but he's almost a half a lap ahead now.
He can only hope that he can chip away at that speed the best he can do, because the interval is getting wider as Chip Hanauer does a great job taking full advantage. The interval now at 8 seconds between first and second place according to our Zodiac sports watches. There you see second place, the Smokin' Joe's. Again, Mark Tate doing a very good job of driving. He lost a little bit. You can't make any sort of an error out here. The boat slipped out on him a little bit, and it cost him time.
We hear a little more compressor stalling now out of the Smokin' Joe's as Mark Tate came by the grandstand. Apparently, Dick, he loaded up that engine just a bit. It's not healthy. He might not have been able to catch Chip Hanauer anyway. It has been a Budweiser day here in Phoenix.
Still leading the race and still doing a great job, giving us some beautiful shots with our cameras around the course, the Miss Budweiser. We're coming up on the finish of the race. Now let's talk about average speed. Miss Budweiser in at about 136 miles per hour. The average speed for the Smokin' Joe's at 127. Still very, very respectable, but not fast enough to catch the Miss Budweiser. And now let's take a look as the Miss Budweiser comes past the grandstand for the last time. Miss Budweiser, the checkered flag. Chip Hanauer has done it. A brand new boat. Second place will go to the Smokin' Joe's. Chip Hanauer, I'm sure, is making Ronnie Brown in that hospital bed feel awfully good at this hour as he hears that the Miss Budweiser will win the first competition of the new year on the unlimited hydroplane schedule.
Chip Hanauer has slowed. I haven't seen this before. He has slowed down right in front of the grandstand. He turned on his strobe light, opened the cockpit, and he is waving at the fans as he heads back to the pit area.
Let's take a look at the celebration.
Are we going to see something new here with the victory lap?
I like it. It's fun. It's close enough that it was nice to be able to stop and actually look at the fans in the eye. I could actually recognize people.
Can we race on this lake, Chip?
I think this is the most fantastic hydroplane course in the history of the world, right?
It's celebrating still.
Chip Hanauer has been at or near the top of the sport of unlimited hydroplane racing for nearly 2 decades. But in the last 4 years, this has been Hanauer's recurring nightmare.
Miss Budweiser up and over
So for the rest of this season at least, Hanauer will take a seat, not in the cockpit of a Thunderboat, but on the beach with the other spectators.
I think the team's got to make some changes. It's not productive. Me and the team, it just doesn't seem to be working well anymore. And the easiest thing to change is the nut behind the steering wheel, and I happen to be that nut.
Hanauer's self-imposed exile from the sport began after this frightening accident in Detroit back in June. A neck strain and concussion were just the latest in a long list of injuries Hanauer has suffered since joining the Budweiser team 4 years ago.
I still think I'm a productive race boat driver, but for some reason it's not working.
The reason Hanauer believes it's not working is the boat itself. He recently went public with his concerns about the Bud's hull design, saying it was difficult to drive and had a lot of mechanical failures. He said he finally decided rather than put himself at risk, he would step aside and let somebody else drive the Miss Budweiser.
I think the worst case scenario is that the team really takes off and does well without me. The end standing on the beach. So not only are you not racing, they're doing better with another guy. And like a quarterback in football, those are the chances you take.
20 years of taking chances have put Hanauer within 4 wins of Thunderboat Racing's all-time record, a mark he can't achieve if he's not driving.
The record really isn't that important to me, and none of the records have been important to me. The records have come in the context of doing my job. I only think about winning the next race or the race I'm in.
It wasn't that long ago that even winning races came in a distant second to Hanauer's growing depression over a loss of his voice. It was evident when we talked with him in early May.
I was horribly depressed. I thought I was losing everything. My career, my ability to interact with people, my worth as a person was somehow less because I can't speak, like I used to.
A neurological disorder made normal speech impossible. Hanauer isolated himself from his family and his friends.
Did you get to that point where where you were in your house, where you closed yourself away?
No question.
You didn't have thoughts beyond that?
I never considered suicide specifically, but there were a lot of times that I thought, what's the use of being here? What's the purpose of my life now? I can't be what I was. I can only be partial of what I was. So why go on? And there were times, there was a period of time, long period of time, that I shut myself away and, couldn't get out of bed in the morning. Didn't want to get out of bed in the morning. The idea of washing the dishes seemed like too big of an effort to do. It was all I could do to get out of the house, get in the boat, do my job, and go home.
Hanauer did reach out for help, though, both emotional and medical. Now he says he has a new lease on life. The question is, will that new life include boat racing?
Yeah, I'd like to race. I unfortunately, and guess it's like the old fire horse, you hear the fire bell and you wanna race. And no, it would be very difficult to not race. But on the other hand, it's something I'm gonna face someday, and maybe this is a good little dress rehearsal for that.